Welcome to Chicago Now.
It's time for Chicago Now.
It's going to be a fun one today.
It is.
We've got a lot going on. Jake?
Yeah.
This is the first time that we've hosted this show together.
Is it really?
I think so.
Oh, I knew I was happier for a reason.
Oh.
I knew there was a light in my life that hadn't been there before.
I'm so excited about today because we've got a genius magician next to us. We're going to talk with our magician.
There we go.
Words are hard.
That musician we're going to have, the King of the River, is here. Ben Kinzinger. I think he's sitting right over there. So we're talking about how the Chicago River is turning into a full-on floating music parade, which sounds like so much fun. We're also getting into pizza, thanks to a new citywide pizza pass with serious perks. And later, we're talking about Superman.
We're talking a little. There's this movie called Superman with a character that apparently people are somewhat fond of.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk with James Gunn, who actually got choked up and I never would have thought that we would be crying in the Superman interview, but he got a little emotional. But I'm getting emotional because during Good Day Chicago in the 9 o'clock hour, you were a part of you were a part of a really great segment that I did not get to be a part of, but now I do.
Right.
You were brilliant on Good Day Chicago
just
15, 20 minutes ago.
Exactly.
Ryan Plunkett is here, and Plunk_N_grind.
Plunk
If
and
you were
grind.
curious
I love
on
it.
social medias. Okay, so we're talking about tricks, but also a lounge that you helped create.
Yeah, the Chicago Magic Lounge. So it's this amazing magic venue, a venue specifically for the art of magic. A whole host of magicians perform there, local, international. It's almost become kind of a stomping ground for magic to see in Chicago. So I'm happy to be a part of it, and luckily I'm happy to be here to show you guys some magic this morning as well.
I've been out there many, many times.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite spots in the city, and it's so great because it's just big enough to get a good crowd, to get that reaction, but also intimate enough that you kind of feel like you're talking to me.
Yeah, we want you to get as close as you can with the people around you.
And as you're sitting down, you're coming to the tables and
everything.
everything. But one thing I always appreciate you guys is it's never just magic. It's never someone walking on stage.
The ambiance too.
And also,
everything,
it's a performance. Like, you have to be a little bit funny. You got to sort of tell a story. Like, in a way, you use the word perform. You're performing much more than just magic.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And lucky for us, the building is amazing, right? So you come into this beautiful space, and it does a lot of our storytelling for us, right? Chicago has a deep history of magic, and we have beautiful posters from the golden era, and we have all these artifacts in our library or museum. So you really get a sense of how steeped magic is in this city, and it's wonderful to be a part of its resurgence and to help bring magic to everyday people. So I love it. It breaks down the barriers. It gets people into the theater and seeing magic, which I love.
And you call it old-fashioned magic.
Yeah, so the show I'm producing is called Old Fashioned Magic. I've gotten to tour it all over the country, but I feel really blessed to be able to bring it back home and do it in a club, our pirate ship of sorts. So I'm really happy to be producing my show there, and we're doing it for 3 months every Wednesday. So it's July, August, September, 3 month every Wednesday, and I'm blessed to be there. So.
What other acts do you guys have? I know that you guys had the viral magician that did the Dove act. Everyone loved that on TikTok.
Spellbinder, yeah, absolutely.
What other acts do you guys have?
It's all magic. but it's all walks of life. It's magic like the Spellbinder, which is birds and big and showy, or you have real close-up magic that happens at your fingertips, right in front of your face. So it's all magic, but it's every corner of magic, if you will, right? All sorts of different applications to magic and different approaches.
What is the balance of people? I was saying earlier that I very much don't want to know how these tricks are done.
Sure.
Like,
I do.
I want, but see, and then you have people that do. What is the balance between, like, hey, I just want to believe in the magic versus no, tell me exactly how you did that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard to give you exact numbers, but I always tell people to just experience it. Let it wash over you. You can almost see the engineers. You can see the engineers in the room. You can see the gears turning.
It's wild.
But you have to remember that, like, even if they look grumpy, it's like they're blown away. They don't know how to process it, right? It's a moment that takes you out of your everyday experience. And so for some people, they get very quiet. They get very small. They don't know how to fathom the thing that's happening in front of them. But for some people, it's big. But I think even if you're skeptical, even if you're like really trying to figure stuff out, there's a moment where you just kind of forget and You drop
Yeah.
your shoulders and you just relax. And,
Yeah.
and that's the moment where you really start to have fun and you start to really get into the show. And
So you showed us a trick earlier, which I think you're going to show us again with some coins. Is that your specialty, or do you do other kinds
I
of
do
tricks
all
too?
sorts of magic. I love magic with cards and coins and close up, but I also love, the idea of these old like English drawing rooms, gathering
Yeah.
in these tight little spaces and doing magic for a group of people,
Yeah.
right? And so the magic then has to be different. It can't be here, it has to be here. And so there's all sorts of magic, and the thing about the lounge is you see every kind of magic there, right? You'll see magic behind the bar, you'll see magic close up, you'll see magic on stage, and then there's, on the weekends we have another theater in the back called the 654 Club where you can see even more intimate, closer magic. So it's every kind of magic in one place. I love it.
Which one of your tricks is the crowd favorite?
It's hard for me to answer that question. I
Which
present
one are you
the
getting
show.
the oohs and ahs?
For me, I love the coin trick I showed you in the last segment. That's one of my favorite
on the floor.
pieces. It brings me good memories.
And we're all a bunch of
it's a
jaded
trick I've
television
done,
people, and we
yeah,
all
for
were
years,
very,
so.
Very, very
deeply
shocked.
impressed.
Should we
Yeah.
get into it?
Yeah, should we do some
Let's
magic?
do
Let's get
it.
our-
I think so. We'll jump on in. We'll do some magic. We'll do a card trick. How about that?
Okay.
We've done some
Okay.
magic with
Okay.
coins. We'll do magic with some cards. But I want to start simple, okay?
Okay.
We'll start with maybe these. These are just a couple of cards. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5 of spades. Now, this is more of an observation test. I say at night that this is a sobriety test, but it's the morning time. We're here, we're doing
I've been
magic.
to the lounge. I know what you're talking
Exactly. Now, the only thing you have to remember in order to make all of this work
Okay.
is that the ace of spades is always the card on top.
about. Okay.
Okay? If you remember that one little fact, you can never lose.
Okay.
Are you ready to play?
I am.
Ready. All right,
here we
I'm
go.
going to Vegas tomorrow, man. So
This is
I need
perfect.
a little practice.
Well, this
Oh,
game I
warm up.
clearly made up, but good luck in Vegas. Are you ready? Here we go.
right, let's go.
Round one.
Yep.
Jake, what card is on top?
Ace of spades.
Okay, he is listening. I just want to make sure he is listening. But that means that the second card
The bar is so low for me. Everyone's like, oh, he did it.
is always the 2. Second card is the 2, okay?
Okay.
Third card will always be the 3. The 4 is the 4. Fifth card is the 5 of spades, right? Like I said, as long as you know what card is currently on top, you cannot lose.
Okay.
My move is first. You ready? Here we go. That's the whole move. That right there.
Okay.
What card is on top?
5.
Okay, no, I just told you. The ace of spades is always the
Justine,
card
I
on
told
top.
you.
But look, if that's true, that means that the second card is the 2, yes?
Yes.
Okay, very good. After that 2, the third card is the...
3.
Yeah. Now look, if this is the 4, what card is after the 4?
5.
Right, but isn't this on top?
What?
Okay,
Oh,
look,
ace.
we have the ace on top, meaning the second card is
Come
the
on.
2, the
Oh my
3 in the
gosh.
middle, that 4 is here, and that 5 is all the way on bottom.
Wow.
And to be fair, this is not much of a game. This is more of a con, right? Don't play this game.
Okay.
But I'm going to show you how
I'm
it
gonna
works,
lose
right?
so much money in
Say,
Vegas.
Jake, say you take that ace.
Yes.
And it goes somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
The cards are smart enough to know to
Okay.
always correct themselves.
Right.
Meaning that ace always rises back up to the top.
How did you do that?
Okay, you know what you're looking for.
I know what I'm looking
Watch
for.
close. You ready?
Okay.
That ace goes way down here in the middle. Yes?
Yes.
You wait just a moment, and again, every single time, it always rises back. Now, people assume I have extra aces, so watch the 2 this time, okay? It's the same exact thing. That 2 goes way down here on bottom. You wait just a moment, and again, every single time, that 2 rises back to the top. Now, I know it's hard to
People
follow.
behind the scenes going, no, no.
It's hard to follow with them face down. So look, we'll do it face up.
Okay.
You ready?
Okay.
We'll give all of those cards a little shuffle, so none of them are where they should be, right?
Okay.
If these were going to be in order, that ace would be here on top, right? The 2 would be here. The 3 is here, the 4 there, 5 all the way on bottom. I mean, literally everything has to change. Or we do it like this. If you take one card from the middle, the ace of spades, the moment it goes on top, it's done. Because after that ace, we have the 2.
How did you do that?
Following that 2 is the 3, then it's the 4. And last
I
but
feel
not
like my
least is
jaw
that
is
5
literally
of
on the
spades.
ground.
Any questions, Jake?
So more of reactions that I can't say because we'll get fined by the FC. It's a lot of words that I think that we're
Better
all
left
thinking that we
unspoken,
can't.
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Better left
Yeah.
unspoken.
You're amazing.
Wow.
Well, look, this is a game, but we'll try to do a little bit of magic as well, right? Look, we'll lose those cards back into the deck. Now, before I go too much further, I want to make a few predictions out of the pack of cards. So we'll do it like this. I'm going to use a card maybe near the bottom of the deck, one near the middle, one near the top. These are going to be my predictions. I'll come back to those in just a second. Until then, we need a random place in the deck. So I'm going to have you help me.
Okay.
We'll give them a little shuffle. I want you just to say the word stop for me as I deal through them.
Got
okay?
it.
Anytime you'd like.
Stop.
Ooh, immediately. You waited no moment. Okay. I'm going to give you one more option.
We only have an hour on the show, man.
You can either have the card we stopped at.
Okay.
You could have the next one. Or if you're so inclined, you could even have the one after that. So 1, 2, or 3.
3.
3. So you don't want the king, not interested in the ace, but you are after, let's see right here, the queen of hearts, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I just want you to know that you made that choice after those cards were set aside. Can we agree?
Agree.
Perfect. Now, here's the thing. If one of these 3 cards is another one of those queens, that might be kind of interesting, yes?
Yes.
Or maybe if 2 of them are queens, that's twice as good. Or if all 3 of those cards are queens, that's not good. That would blow your freaking mind. Yes, Jay?
Yes, it would.
Okay, good. That's not what's happening. That's not what we're doing. I mean, all of these cards are queens. Specifically, you picked that queen of hearts. But if you look closer, you'll notice that second card, though it is a queen, specifically it's another queen of hearts. It's not just 2 queen of hearts. You see the third one down here is also a queen of hearts. Or if you look close right here, that last card is a queen of hearts. You see, you left with an impossible thing. You can't have 4 queens in a deck of cards. You only get one of these and one of those. But I'm going to tell you why this works, why this is all super logical. You ready?
Yeah.
All of these queens are from different decks of cards.
Oh.
Can you see the difference? I know you're looking at me like you're crazy or I'm crazy. Maybe somebody's crazy, but
No.
I'll show you. This queen right here is a little bit more red than these.
Okay.
I know you don't see it, but there's a reason you don't see it. You see, if you take those cards and you shift the perspective in how you see them, now in theory you see them the way I saw them, meaning that that queen really does look just a little bit more red than it was. It's subtle.
How did you do that?
Well, do it again. Look, that second queen.
way.
Same thing, right? All it
No,
takes that little
stop.
shift of the packet.
Stop.
A shift in perspective, and that's when that card starts to change.
That's a completely different card.
We'll do it again.
How
Look,
did you
the third
do
one.
that?
Much like the first 2, a little pass through the hand.
What?
And that makes 3.
Wow.
But the last one, you ready? Look, all it takes is a little spin on the finger,
No.
and it's done.
Stop.
It's done.
No, it's not.
You see, the back of this card
No.
It's not red.
is blue. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's from this deck right here. How could it be different? But while this... Thank you.
That was so good.
But I have to say, while this is interesting, while this is crazy, you see it goes further. You see, if you take all of the cards, you'll notice every single one of those cards starts
Get
to change
out.
and morph and become something completely different than where they started.
What is happening? How did you do that?
These were
How
all
did you do
the
that?
same color.
I am so wow.
You know what it takes to silence TV people?
No,
to
I
get
get
us
loud.
to
I
just
get piercingly loud.
Wow.
Sorry. That was so cool.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Great.
Well
Thank
done.
you so much.
What are you doing for the next few days? You want to come to Vegas?
No, I'm busy. I'm busy.
Wait,
Where
we
can
do more
people see you?
tricks?
Like, let's give a
I
shout
don't
out
know,
to the Magic Lounge one more time.
You can come find us. We're doing old-fashioned magic every Wednesday for July, August, and September. You can see the Chicago Magic Lounge 7 days a week. Bars open to the public.
I've
And
been
it's
there.
a
Such
great
a
time.
night.
Such a
So
great
come out,
experience.
come hang out with us.
And
Come see
he's-
some magic.
Earlier, we did a coin trick, and when I tell you my mind was blown just like this. I mean, you
But
are.
a testament to you that like you brought 2 different you're not just redoing the same trick over.
Yeah,
so you
we're
could
ready to
go
go,
to
yeah.
the Magic Lounge multiple times and
Yeah,
see
you,
different shows.
and truly, you'll always see a different show.
Yeah.
You know, from who's on stage, it's a different combination every show. Who's
Yeah.
in the close-up room, it's always different. Who's walking around at the tables. So we always say every time you go, it's a different show.
It is.
So
Is there
It is.
anything more entertaining than magic?
Music maybe.
Music? Nice segue.
You like that?
All right, coming up, we're going to be talking to our musician. We also have, as mentioned before, some pizza to discuss.
Yes.
We'll be right back. This is actually quite beautiful. Okay, you guys. Chicago's River Concert King set sail again.
I think we have the official instrument of Chicago Now.
Okay. Yes.
Listen to it. Listen to it.
It's actually really,
Is there
beautiful.
anything sexier
I don't think
than
so.
an accordion?
With an eyeball on the face?
All right, we're going to
Musician
introduce
Ben
this guy.
Kinzinger.
He is the king of the river. Musician Ben Kinzinger has been organizing secret river shows on the North Branch of the Chicago River for the last 3 summers. Now, thanks to a city grant, he's leveling up, turning the river into a floating stage for a full-blown musical parade. Ben is joined, but Ben, we got to see your handsome face, man. First of all, what an intro, man. What an intro to that segment. For people, I'd love to know just what the story behind the eyeball mask and the accordion is.
Here he is.
Yeah, awesome. Look at that handsome face. Good to see you, buddy.
Oh, it's good to be here.
Oh, man, this is, first of all, I've got so many questions, but first of all, I'd love to know just the backstory behind how long you've been playing the accordion and where the idea for the eyeball mask came from.
I found the eyeball mask at the Wizard's Chest in Denver.
Love it.
Oh, what's that?
It's a sort of costume and board game shop
Cool.
out there. And I saw it and I was like, wow, this is cool. And took some photos while on a hike, and then it's kind of become a part of my persona.
Yeah.
Like a Daft Punk thing? Do you normally, do you sort of keep it on for the entirety of the performance?
I usually don't. I can't sing through it.
Sure. That's tough. That's a little tough.
But I'm working with some of our best scientists to develop a new mask.
Yeah.
Great.
That I can sing through.
That, I mean, almost like the Squid Game mask where they kind of got that mesh where they can
Sure.
kind of talk.
And then you can
Yeah,
through,
we
you
have
know?
the technology.
Yeah, I'm
you
saying,
know?
yeah, it's there, you know? That,
let's
I
talk
love the
about this.
accordion, though. That's awesome.
You're really good at it. The King of the River. Where did
Yes.
this come about? How did you think of it? What does it mean?
Yeah, well, I was walking along the river one day, and then I saw something shimmering in the water, and I approached it, and suddenly the woman of the river then bestowed me a sword. And ever since then, I've been the king of the river.
So does that include
Basically
making
how
music?
it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay,
Come
got
on,
it. Yeah.
you did like the Camelot?
Are you the prince of the river?
Oh, no one's giving me a sword.
Okay.
Trust me, no one's.
You could get a little dagger.
Yeah, exactly
You know?
right. The Prince Dagger.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. But these shows have been so incredible and have really blown up from these things that we've kind of heard about online, or like someone who knows someone who went to one, to now they're kind of like legit full-blown things now.
Yeah, it's grown. I think it's still bigger online than it is in reality.
Really?
Because really, I mean, to get to it, you have to take the steps of figuring out where it is
Sure.
and getting there.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like. Is it's for the seekers. It's for the adventurers. I try to be cryptic because I want people to have to work for an experience rather than have the immediate gratification.
What is the experience?
Well, I row a bunch of bands onto a pylon in the Chicago River,
Yeah.
and then from there they perform. And like our last show, I think we had 8 different bands. We went
Whoa!
from
And you go one at a time?
yeah. We'll bring one on, bring another off.
It's so funny. We've shown clips and images of this before, and all the questions we always had was, how do they get up? And it's
gosh.
you in a rowboat rowing those
Do they
things
Yeah.
climb
out there.
on your shoulders?
Yeah,
Wow,
exactly.
you're a good
Actually,
sport,
I
man.
brought the first little air pump that I use on my dinghy. So it's an inflatable dinghy. Like we just pump it up like that.
Yeah.
But
Hey.
I don't know. Lately, I've actually been having a little trouble. There's this one little problem with it. That
Oh no, I'm scared. What's
Yeah,
gonna
see, now,
happen?
yeah. I feel like we got.
God.
oh gosh.
The danger of scaring people on live
my
television
gosh.
is a very, very real thing.
The swears.
That being said, I'm gonna need to borrow this from you later because I'm everyone's
Oh my
annoying little brother in the
gosh.
newsroom, and I'm gonna need to take this around and show Sylvia Perez
Ah.
a little bit later. The kids would love that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
concerts on the river. So how do people find out about when and where? Well, I guess you just mentioned where, but how to get to these concerts?
Yeah, I have a mailing list on my website. I'd say things on Instagram. But if it gets more popular, it might become more cryptic.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know. You mentioned loving how I don't want to say difficult's the wrong word, but how much of a challenge it is. Is the charm taken away if these things get too popular?
the moment itself is magical, and so I think that in itself is valuable and special, and the hunt to find it is its own thing, but it is something that's important to me.
Yeah.
So there could be, I don't know, new locations in the future. I'm now building towards this river parade.
Sure.
Where we've done it on one pylon.
Yeah.
What if we take it across the whole river?
So tell us about that. When is that happening?
July 19th at high noon, we're going to begin the parade, kind of in the north branch of the river.
Yeah.
Actually, I brought a treasure map.
I'm worried about something jumping out of this.
No, nothing's jumping out of this one.
Are there multiple pylons where you're going to do it?
Really only one pylon per se, but some other locations.
I love that it's full. It's like a full-blown Goonies treasure map. I'm loving this.
So if you're looking to come to the parade, we're starting at high noon, where Addison crosses the river.
Sure.
I see Target there if you're curious.
Yeah. So then
right by
these are the
Target.
coordinates, and then from there, so these are going to be sort of stage locations that we're going to bring bands via pontoon boats decorated like parade floats.
Cool.
So a band will come down from the North Branch, they'll get off here, they'll play a set, then that band will get back on, they'll go to the next spot. While that band's going here, the next band comes to the first location.
Oh, I love it.
We're going to have a chain of bands going all the way down, and then the grand finale will be down at the Wild Mile.
Whoa. Okay, so they're going to be playing all along the river, the music, or
Yeah.
just at these spots?
These spots are the best spots to see
Yeah.
because
Okay.
we'll have all of the gear set up so that the band can do their full performance. And but all along the river, we'll probably be jamming.
I love that. Now, in terms of sometimes with big shows and productions, or even filming TV shows or movies, it's all about getting the city's permission. Do you kind of just show up and do it? Does the city have to let you guys say, hey, yeah, you can use that pylon, or are we just doing it and going from there?
Historically, I've never asked.
Ask for forgiveness, man.
Yeah, but I look. Thing is, I want to work with the city. I want to keep doing this, and so I'm happy to figure out what is best to maintain the shows.
Yeah? How do you get the electricity out there? That's what I was always wondering.
That's a good question. I bring a generator.
Okay.
Yeah, so we bring a gas generator out onto the pylon. Actually, I lost a generator at one of the shows this year.
In the water.
So somewhere in the river there's a generator on the bottom?
Yes.
So free generator for anyone that can find it. It's a whole other treasure map.
But the good news is the new one I got is more power.
Okay.
And
Love
so
it.
the sound quality is much better now.
So the first one that you did, were you the artist that played?
I was. Yeah, we began just with a little battery-powered speaker and a small drum kit.
Yeah. So are you the singer, or do you play the
am, yeah.
instruments? What is your talent?
So I had my band Lawrence Tome I write sad cowboy songs.
I love it. I'm from Texas. I love sad cowboy songs.
All right, yeah,
Love it.
yeah, check it out. Actually, I have an album that's about to release. I'm trying to kind of release it in conjunction with this River Parade.
Nice.
Where can people find it?
It'll be up on Spotify, all the streaming things. It's gonna be called King of the River.
Love it.
And it's got my whole band. I think 9 people in my band.
Yeah.
My sister sings in my band.
Oh, very cool.
Another gal. We've got pedal steel. We've got electric guitar, drums, percussion. It's a big ensemble, and
Are
we
you
all
guys-
fit on the pylon.
Are you going to play for the parade? Are you going to be
I
one of the
will,
artists?
yeah. So just like Santa Claus, I'll be pulling in the rear. You know?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Are you going to be in a king attire?
Yeah, we'll dress up.
I love that.
I'd imagine you have a lot of bands that want to be a part of something like this. How do you guys pick and choose who gets, specifically the parade, who gets to be a part of the parade?
Yeah, the parade was, I don't know, just like any show, it's honestly a lot of it's random and the kind of luck. I get a lot of messages on Instagram or emails, and I ultimately want to get as many bands up as possible because it's a cool opportunity for Chicago artists to be up there. And so, like at these last few shows, probably the last 5 shows, my band hasn't even played.
Just
so
because it's gotten so big and so popular and so
That's
many
nice
people
of
and I
want
want to get more people out.
I think that's cool,
you know?
man. That's
Yeah.
So I'm happy to host. It's good to be the king.
I love it.
You get to pick and choose. If someone wants to help you in other ways, maybe there's a photographer who thinks this might be a cool opportunity, or someone who does drone work like you guys had for that lovely video.
Yeah.
Where should they reach out to you?
My website is a way, or through Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're always looking for photographers or drone pilots or
Love
anything
that.
else. And really, you don't even have to talk to me. You can just show up and shoot. Like,
Well, that's fun.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, if they do that, what's the Instagram handle that they should tag you, or the Instagram maybe to find you and reach
Yeah,
out?
Lawrence Tome.
Yeah.
So it's like Lawrence_Tome_. And I'm always down to do a collaborative post. I think the more that we share the artwork, the more people will see it.
Can you shout out just a couple of the bands that are going to be in the parade?
Yeah, Abolish Victory is going to be in the parade. Mush Mush, Lawrence Tome. Who else?
What genre are these bands, by the way?
Mine, like Abolish Victory is sort of what is it? R and Beyond.
Oh,
Okay.
I like that.
Mush Mush is kind of yeah, folk with a little psychedelic. I'm forgetting the name, but there's a mariachi band
Yes.
on one of the floats.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Love
I want to
everything.
shout out Rent Chicago Boats because they've been helping me with get these pontoon
Sure.
boats that are going to be a part of this whole parade. So it wouldn't be possible without them.
Beautiful.
Very cool.
And,
And one more time, let's shout out the album, which you said is going to correlate with the actual parade.
Yeah, yeah, Lawrence Tome, King of the River.
On
Should
Spotify.
be coming out in this month.
Excellent. Congratulations, man.
Oh, thank you.
You are so cool.
Yes.
Oh,
You
thank
are so
And you
cool.
guys are pretty cool too.
Starting a trend.
So-
I don't know.
What? Oh, more accordion.
Could you accordion us
yeah,
out?
Yeah. All right.
Coming up, we're talking about pizza in Chicago. Let's hear it from the River King, the River King himself.
The River King himself.
Here he goes.
There's craziness behind the scenes at Chicago now.
Always.
know what
Always.
I
This
love?
is a good time.
Pizza.
Me too.
It's been a crazy show so far.
baby.
We are 36 minutes into this thing.
It's been fun.
It's been fun.
Some really cool guests.
Yeah, and we're going to keep the ball
Musicians,
rolling.
magicians.
Musicians and magicians.
Try to say that quick.
I couldn't. I couldn't.
Okay, so we're talking with Fabiola Sierra, the manager of partnership marketing for Choose Chicago, because
Yes.
you're going to be able to explore pizza in Chicago like never before. The new
Slice,
Chicago
slice,
Pizza Pass
baby.
offers deals at more than 25 restaurants across the city, from deep dish classics to buzzy new spots, and yes, prizes are involved. So, Fabiola, can you hear us? Good morning.
Manager of Partnership Marketing from Choose Chicago. There's Fabiola.
There she is.
How are you?
Hi. Doing pretty good. Thank you for having me.
You have got to be everyone's favorite person because you are the most knowledgeable person about pizza. And I got to say, am I reading this right? It's $15 for a year-long discount to more than 25 spots around the city. I mean, I feel like if you go to 2 of them, that thing is already paid for itself. Is that right?
Exactly. We really wanted to make it accessible. This program kicked off July 1 and it'll run until December 31st. So you've got all the rest of this year to go through and check out some new pizza places here in Chicago.
So it's called a pizza pass. What exactly does this entail? You go online, you buy this, and then do you just put in a code when you order a pizza?
Yeah, I can kind of walk through the steps. You can visit our website, shypizzapass.com. From there, you'll be able to sign up. It is no downloads, no apps. So you'll be able to bookmark on your home screen. And from there, you just sign in and you can take a look at all the local pizza places. And kind of take a look at like what discounts they have. It's very accessible, easy to use. Take a look if you're at Candlelight Chicago, you take a look at their discount and then select the coupon and you show the server or whoever is taking your order and they could apply the discount.
I love that. And you mentioned sort of neighborhood pizza places. Obviously, you got the big ones on the you got Giordano's, Lou Malnati's, and Gino's East. But I'd imagine there are an endless amount of pizza joints in Chicago. Maybe some that you haven't heard of that would be cool to just try for the first time.
Absolutely. We wanted to make sure that everyone was included and that we're really pushing out, getting people out to new neighborhoods, getting them to a new pizza place, maybe a neighborhood they haven't visited or one that they've had on their list for a long time. So we really want to get people out and exploring all of Chicago's great neighborhoods.
So Fabiola, in your experience, because I know you know the whole list of the pizza places that are included in this Pizza Pass, are there any smaller ones that you would recommend or that you may think that people haven't heard of?
Yeah. Oh, there's such a wide variety. There's one on Michigan, Williams Inn Pizza. I was actually just there. I tried it out for the first time. Such great pizza. Even ordered some wings on the side.
Yes.
I mean, we've got quite a bit of a big range, and we have a map function too. So if you want to kind of dip into a new neighborhood or stay within the area, it makes it a little easy to kind of map out where you want to go. If you want to do a pizza tour in one day or a weekend or just stretch it out for the next couple months.
Love that. You mentioned there's discounts at more than 25 spots. Is there an anti-discount? Do you guys charge more if someone wants pineapple on a pizza?
That's my favorite.
Is like a
Did you know that's my favorite?
Is it really? Is it really your? Is it your? I did not know that. What happened to you?
You didn't know that?
You want pineapple on
You
pizza?
literally didn't know
I
that?
had no idea. I was just being.
That's my favorite.
So what punishment do you have for
delicious.
the people who shall remain unnamed that want pineapple? Is it an anti-discount? Like you actually charge her more?
Okay, first of all, I love pineapple on pizza too.
My
wait,
girl.
I'm the weirdo in this situation?
My girl.
I'm the freak that
It's sweet
doesn't.
and salty together. It's a perfect
Then
combination.
eat M&Ms and popcorn. Pineapple
do
on a
that
pizza.
too.
Jenna, where do you stand?
Yeah, so
Okay,
I
I'm
mean,
the weirdo.
well,
I'm the weirdo in this group that likes that doesn't. It's your favorite too? Yeah.
It's delicious.
Wait!
It's
I did not
delicious.
realize how many apparently pineapple on pizza.
Delaney
Wait,
doesn't like it.
Delaney? Okay.
All right, fine.
I love this
Fabiola,
today.
you have no idea what you've done
Off
behind
the
the scenes.
rails.
It is like the Jets and the Sharks in here now with the pineapple on pizza thing. Okay, so apparently.
Anyways, what's your next question, Jake?
That's it. That's all I got. I've got nothing after that. Pineapple. Okay, wait. What is the challenge other than accepting people who like pineapple on pizza? There's a challenge that you guys have?
So not a challenge, but there is a voting system within our Pizza Pass. So, if you go to a few of the pizza places and if you have a favorite, you can start to vote for whichever is your favorite. So you have your own personal voting platform. And then you could also look at the leaderboard of who is kind of in the lead.
That's fun.
In case you want to, check out a place that has become a favorite on the pass. So, yeah.
Have you had any feedback, or has this started yet? When is this beginning? You said it was going to be the next couple of
it's
months.
July 1, it started. We've had quite a few signups already, which we're really excited about. I know personally my friends were already planned out the next couple months of where we're hitting up.
Yeah.
And as far as the discounts, to go back on that, a lot of it varies. There are, 20% off, 5% or $5 off, or a BOGO type of. So it kind of varies along, what the coupon will have.
I always love talking to people about their perception of Chicago pizza, because whenever I go out of town and someone says, hey, where are you from? And I'm from Chicago, they always go, hey, deep dish. And a lot of times I'll go, yeah, kind of, I guess, but also not really. Like, I always find that those of us oftentimes that live here will do, you do tavern cut, or you do, like I associate deep dish with when I have friends and family coming to town. It's what they want. It's like, and I don't want to call it a touristy thing, but it does feel like just when people come.
Indulging.
Like Fabiola, where do you stand on like what Chicago pizza actually is?
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
obviously, deep dish, amazing, beautiful. Everyone's got to have it. But on our Pizza Pass, we definitely wanted to show variety. There's definitely the tavern style that's on there. And we wanted to just give the pizza places flexibility to kind of showcase, how they make their pizza. It doesn't always have to stick to deep dish, even though that's lovely. So yeah, we want to make sure that there's a variety for everyone who's visiting Chicago.
Okay, Fabiana, let's go back to the website so that people, in case they forgot, where we could visit to see, and maybe a social media account in case people want to just go on Insta and see where you're posting about this Pizza Pass.
Yeah, of course. So all of it will be on our website. To get there quickly, it's shypizzapass.com. You could sign up there. We will be posting on our social media just Pizza Pass updates and all of our websites. So we will be kind of plastered on there.
All right,
honestly, really quick, the only thing I love more than pizza, I think maybe, is tacos. I would love to. Could you guys ever do this like a taco pass for like all the taco spots around Chicago?
That's a good idea. Maybe, we're kind of on the never done, never outdone right here. So maybe it'll be down the line.
Love it.
All right. Manager of Partnership Marketing, Choose Chicago.
The way you
Thank
started
you
a
so much,
fight
Fabiola.
behind the scenes, the great
That was
pineapple
very
fight of
exciting.
2025. Fabiola,
Yes.
we appreciate you.
Now I want some pizza.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're talking a little Man of Steel. And no, we're not talking Mike Kaplan. We're talking
right.
Superman.
And pepperonis, too.
Oh, yeah.
Get it? Pepperonis, pizza, puppy, Superman.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
We'll
well
be
done.
right back.
back to Chicago now. So this Friday, and when I say Friday, I really mean Thursday because they do those early previews. We are getting the first solo Superman movie in over a decade.
Are you excited?
I've seen it. Because we had
excited.
I'm excited because it's the summer movie season. I love movies that bring people together. The theatrical experience, you bring 300 people together in one room. They all stare in the same direction to see the same thing, and all 300 people have a completely different experience. To me, that is magic. That is a magical movie thing.
Okay.
And Superman's been around since the 1930s, so we are approaching almost a century of the Man of Steel, of the Son of Krypton.
Yes.
And this is a character that means a lot to a lot of people. Whether you grew up watching the old Christopher Reeve movies, or maybe you read the comic books or watched the animated series, or maybe you're old enough to have watched, the old George Reeves TV show back in the day. It's a character that means a lot. So we don't often get a Superman movie. So when we do, it's special. It means something to people. And I had the chance to sit down recently with the guy who wrote and directed this new Superman movie. His name's James Gunn, and he did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, which are so much fun for a lot of people. And I talked to him about the two guys who created the Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. They created Superman back in the 1930s. Obviously, they're no longer with us. But I wanted to know just what he wishes he could have asked them about the character and had them see this new Superman movie. And he kind of told me a really interesting story that in a way he did kind of get their reaction. And it's something that actually got him surprisingly a little emotional in our interview.
I want you to imagine you could sit in a movie theater, watch this film, you're sitting next to Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, and you lean over and you go, what'd you think about how I did this? What is an aspect of the film that you would love to get their thoughts on?
Well, the whole thing. I mean, it would be amazing. But I also think that, one of the greatest moments, the one moment I really shed a tear was when Jerry's grandsons read the script for the first time, and we brought them over to D.C. We gave them, they had to read the scripts in the office, and they came out and they got on the phone with me, and they were just effusive, and I'd never met them. And they were just effusive. They're like, this is a Superman movie we've been waiting to see. This is, our grandfather would have been so proud. I'm gonna cry now. So it's that meant a lot. That meant a lot.
We can't cry at the Superman junket, James Gunn. This is not a crying kind of junket.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting James Gunn, who's always a very fun, lively, sort of jokey interview, to get a little swept up. But I mean, you'd have to imagine that the grandsons of the creator of Superman saying, "You did right by my grandfather." That's got to be. It doesn't matter what. And the reviews are great. It's doing great on Rotten Tomatoes. The critics are loving it. But with all due respect to them, it doesn't matter what they think. I think what matters is the creators and then the fans of this character. So the reason I wanted to air that clip is because I wanted to ask sort of a bigger question, because I think we are very lucky, you and I, to be in a position in a job that is for us a dream. This is a dream position for a lot of people to be sitting in chairs doing a show like this. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to know, everyone in your life, who was the person you were most grateful for them to be able to see what you've accomplished, everything that you've done in your career, when you're at the sort of the top.
Who's at the top?
No, you're at the top. You're a meteorologist in Market 3 in Chicago. Who are you most happy?
This is not a sweet answer.
Oh no, that's even better.
A sweet answer.
Wait, is this like a revenge?
Kind of.
Oh yes! This is not what I expected, but this is what I want now.
Well, when I was in college, I think I was a sophomore at the time, and I remember going to after hours for one of my meteorology professors, and going to him for help and guidance in his class, and his response to me was, meteorology's not for everybody.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was already all in. So I was like, what do you mean? I've already taken all of these math classes. We're cruising. And he said that, and I was like, okay. But then, funny thing, years down, so I've been here for 8 years. This was probably maybe a couple years in to me working in Chicago. He sent me an email and said, hey, I ran across your reel, and you're doing really well. You've done a really good job.
Now, that is the moment where there is a fork in the road, and you can go either one of two directions. You can either go, hey, thank you, I appreciate you, it's good to hear from you, or you can go, hey, look, and can really rub his nose in it. How did you decide which path you were going to take?
Well, honestly, he probably doesn't remember the conversation that him and I had. I would assume.
Yeah.
So I just said thank you, of course. But I never forgot that.
Of course.
Comment.
I've never understood that, because we're lucky enough. Sometimes we bring in, we have interns that come in, people who are, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and want to get into the industry. And the idea of knocking someone down or telling them that they can't do it,
Yeah.
I can't imagine
Well,
that.
I think I got judged a lot, and to be honest, because I was in a sorority, so we had our sorority clothes and our bags or whatever. They knew that I was in this sorority, which there's judgment that comes to Greek life, which in reality, I did it because I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anybody in college, and it was actually the best
Sure.
decision I have ever made. But the kids that I was in these classes with were very serious meteorologists, and I was too, but I think that kind of took the respect away from me,
Yeah.
from certain people, and I don't know if it was the sorority. They never said it's because you're in a sorority we think you're stupid, but I do think that there was some judgment there, just based on like surface judgment. But to your point, if there's a student who comes to get guidance, they're obviously looking for help
Sure.
and asking for help. They're taking it seriously, so
Sure.
you should too. And I think that was a comment or a statement that shouldn't be said to
Yeah.
somebody.
I
didn't ask for that
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I would rather believe in someone and maybe be wrong about that, and then turns out maybe they just didn't want to do it, or maybe perhaps didn't have what it takes. I'd rather be wrong because I thought they could do it than be wrong because I didn't think they could do it, and then they succeed.
But also, like, if someone's asking you for help, you just give them the help
Yeah,
that they're asking
exactly.
for. You don't say, "Wow, you it's not for everybody."
Yeah, there's a classic old school actor, a guy named Jack Lemmon, who is, he was in Some Like It Hot, he was in The Odd Couple, a grumpy old man. He was a great actor. And he had a quote that I always remembered, which is that when you're on the top floor, you need to know when to send the elevator back down. And I always love that idea of when you're in a position, and I'm not sitting here saying, oh, we're on the top floor, we're in the penthouse suite. But the idea being that when you're in a comfortable position in life, to be able to say, okay, let's help out the next generation. And we're still very much in the thick of our jobs and the thick of our careers, but there are people who are looking to what we're doing as, the ultimate. There's that expression that you are living the life that used to be your dream.
Yes.
And it's a lot of people's dreams, no matter what profession, and it does have to be in television, no matter what profession you're in.
Yeah.
If you're in that position to be able to help the next generation, it is a gift to be able to do that.
Yeah, and don't shut them down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard enough. We're all just scrambling.
We're all just trying to,
I
I have there's the whole conversation around imposter syndrome. Like I've been doing this for a very long time, and there will be days where I go, I am making this up as I go along. I don't know if I know what I'm doing.
We all are in
right?
all aspects of our life. Parenting,
Yeah.
relationships, we all don't know what
Isn't
we're doing.
that the biggest revelation I think about adulthood is the realization that none of us really know what we're doing.
Right.
We're all, because when you're a kid, you just assume that your parents and all the adults around you, and if you're of a certain height, that you got the answers. And
Yeah.
so at some point in your life, someone just gives you a book that
Right.
just has everything figured out. And then you realize one day as an adult, oh, that book never comes. You just do your best.
It hit me relatively recently because we're getting older,
Sure.
Jake. We've
Oh,
been here
I make
together
sounds when I stand up now.
forever working here.
Don't laugh.
Like, it's one of those. It hit me the other day, and just that we're working our way into our 30s. Like I just think that as people get older and they say, I feel like I'm in my 27-year-old body. That kind of moment hit me
Sure.
where I'm like, I'm going to be 40 before you know it, which I'm not saying 40 is old, but it's not 27, but
Sure.
I still feel like I'm in my 20s.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that happen. You get wrinkles.
Yeah.
You don't know the style or the in music, and then it's like, wait, I'm actually getting older.
I sneezed the other day, and I'm not kidding, hurt my back.
I was gonna say I thought you were gonna say peed my pants.
I'm not that old, Caitlin Cody. Jeez, no. Yeah, it's
weird, right?
It is kind of a weird feel, but I like it. I don't know. I kind of like. I've always kind of had I was never a go to the clubs kind of guy. I was
Yeah.
never a stay out till 3 o'clock. I was always a like, hey, could you turn the music down? So like, I feel like I'm now just aging into,
Who you've
Like I
always
said, I'm
been.
the guy that wants to get to the airport 3 hours early. Like I was always an 87-year-old man in a 7-year-old body whenever I was a kid. So yeah, I feel like now.
Wait, I want to ask you that same question you asked me.
What?
If you could, who are you wanting, or who are you most proud to see where you are today?
I was very grateful that my obviously my parents, because they were
Yeah.
such a big part, but my grandma, who I was very close with growing up and stayed a lot with during the summer, and she was a home health nurse, so she was busy all the time, but never failed to stop in the middle of her day if I wanted to. And we lived out in the middle of nowhere, so to go to the theaters was like an hour-long drive. Which would take me to opening weekends of movies, would take me to the video store. And unfortunately, she has since passed, but was around long enough to see me do a lot of this and to see. I mean, the idea that she and I used to watch Seinfeld reruns, and then she was able to see me interview Jerry. The fact that she would take me to go see, the new Tom Hanks movie because she knew how much I love Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And then to see me get to sit down with Tom Hanks, like those were moments that I'm very grateful to have happened. My grandpa, a huge fan of Westerns, not necessarily the biggest movie star fan, but for him to see me sit down with Clint Eastwood. That was a moment where I was sort of like, that it's always those sort of special significances where I was very, very grateful to have seen that. And obviously for my family.
Significant to them too, Jake.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
so sweet.
Yeah, so I was very grateful for that.
I love it. All right, you guys, it's 10:58.
Get weepy on Chicago Now.
We've got a whole other hour coming up in just a couple minutes. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Chicago Now. The time is 11:02. Good morning, Tia.
Good morning. I feel like I'm bringing the sunlight
I was going to
today.
say you look like the sunshine
Just
today.
be honest. I look like I was hit with a bag of highlighter. Somebody else said it on my way up, but I'm cool with it. I wanted to be bright and merry
I love
because I wasn't
it.
feeling that way leaving the house this morning. So
Right, and I got all black on today. I
So
didn't
it
get the
matches.
memo. We got to text each other before we
no, but it
figure out-
goes because
It
if you had
goes.
worn like something bright too, then people at home would have been like, "What are they doing? Are they
Right.
crazy?"
Yeah.
So yeah, too
Yeah.
early
and
for
I
the
think
disco.
it matches our personalities too. You know?
You think you're dark? Like what?
I think my little personality is kind of straight sometimes, and you
Okay.
bring the bubble and
Okay.
sunshine.
All right, I'll live with
I
it.
absolutely love it.
You said it.
So today people are asking, could you work from home?
Work from
and
home.
would you work from home at the beach? Maybe getting some sunshine from the beach.
I will work from home, and that's good enough. I don't even need to go to the beach.
You don't have to go to the beach.
It's interesting because every morning when I leave my house, I leave my house pretty much at the same time. And I hope she doesn't watch this show. But one of my neighbors is out pushing her stroller every morning, same time. And I'm so envious. And I think, man, I wish I had her life. I wish I could just be trolling the neighborhood and looking around and pushing a stroller. So I think, you know what, the beauty of working from home is being able to spend a little quality time, more quality time with your family. Right. And maybe she works from home. Maybe I'm, prejudging. Maybe she works from home. So I do see some beauty in being able to work from home. Now, I did work from home one day during the pandemic, and that was the worst day of my life.
Why?
I bought everything online. Like in between my breaks, I was searching stuff online and I was buying online. I'll be honest, I was not a very productive Fox 32 employee that day.
So when you were working from home, for people who don't know, how does that work?
So my living room turned into my studio. That's where I did my live shot from. And then I did all of my writing and everything on the computer. And so, yeah, I was sitting in my living room and I was like, well, today. And I'm sure people were like, well, that's weird. But at the time, so many people were working from home on TV that it didn't probably look weird to people. But I thought it was weird.
How
But
did
I
you
didn't
go
get a
and
lot
get
of work
your-
done.
I was going to say, how'd you go and get your interviews? Did you have to do all those through Zoom? Okay.
Zoom was the life.
So
Yeah.
Zoom is the place for interviews.
Yeah.
I feel like we're always interviewing people on Zoom.
That's true.
I feel like if I could work from home, I would do Zooms on the beach all the time.
You would?
All the time. If I had Wi-Fi set up, a nice little drink, a little pina colada virgin.
I couldn't imagine being able to really be productive.
Right.
For real.
I can
It
see that.
sounds good, but I don't know.
I can
I don't
see
think
that.
I'm cut out for the work from home life.
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, let's get into what's trending today.
What's
so
trending?
Barbie came out with a new Barbie doll.
Okay.
That's going to be a little bit more inclusive. And then later we're going to be chatting with a financial expert on a new form of retirement that's making waves through Gen Z.
Okay, I like that. I
And
like
then
that.
there's also Amazon Prime Day. It's day number 2.
Day
so we'll
number
be
2.
talking about what is it like being in behind the scenes during Amazon Prime Day.
Yeah, my weed killer came yesterday.
Did it?
Yeah, because that was the one thing I
Right.
wanted off of Amazon. I know, so lame.
Did you
so
guys already
old.
spray it? Did you get the
I
husband to go
didn't spray it, but I'm questioning. See, my whole thought is, if it's that affordable at this time, does that mean the ingredients aren't
Right.
really what they're supposed to be?
Is it full 100%?
I don't know. Weed
chemicals?
killer.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
So we're gonna find out. But yeah, it did come yesterday.
Okay, so to the Barbie topic.
Yeah, let's talk about Barbie.
Barbie. They launched a new Barbie doll with type 1 diabetes.
Oh, wow.
So it says that for
Here it is. We have a picture.
Yeah, we have a picture. Great. So it says that there's an insulin pump included on Barbie's waist and a continuous glucose monitor on her arm.
I think this is a good thing because I see a lot of people with that device on their arm. And in fact, I was in a public place one time and this young lady, she was a server, she had it on her arm and the people that she was waiting on had no idea what it was. She had to explain it. And so I think by putting it mainstream like this, it makes it a little bit more popular and for people to really understand what it means to go through
I think
diabetes.
it's great for kids to normalize the fact that everyone is different. Everyone has something different about them.
Right.
I saw recently, or maybe about a year ago, they came out with the Down syndrome doll. And that was such a great moment. You're seeing all these advertisements of kids that have their doll that look just like them. And that's so important.
It is so important to have that kind of diversity because we're starting to see it in the way people in dolls, the way they wear their hair, right? The shades of skin. So I think it's time that we go this way as well. Why not?
Right, especially with the hair. Like growing up, I'm sure we all had our black
Yes.
Barbie doll, and it was so important to show, like, this is how you take care of your hair. This is how you're combing your curls.
But let's be honest, Justine. It took a while to get to the Afro stage, right? Where Barbie had natural tresses, and it wasn't silky and straight. Because that's not. Well, you know, that's my reality today. But when I take out the extensions, or if I decide to wear my hair in its natural state, it's not always silky and straight, and that's okay.
Right.
Right. So it was nice to see that evolution, right, take place for both of us.
It is. Were you the kid that always wanted the dolls that looked like you, or did you want to try the different ones?
I was the kid that had dolls that looked like everybody, that looked like the rainbow. And in fact, my daughter is like that now. Like when she wants a Barbie, she's not looking at the Barbie from the perspective of, I'm a black girl, this Barbie's black. She just wants the Barbie. And so when you look at her room, the Barbies are everybody. And so I think that's beautiful, because that's really what we should be teaching anyway.
Right, absolutely. I feel like if I had a kid, I'd want them to know that everyone looks different, everyone has a different body type, they have different ailments or, things about them, and that's a beautiful thing.
I do find it interesting, and I don't know who introduced this to my daughter. I have not figured out the culprit, because I feel like at 2 years old, it's kind of young to start thinking about who you are in terms of like your color of your skin and stuff like that. But it was interesting because last week we picked up my daughter and she was like, "Mommy, you're black." And I was like, "Well, wait a minute. Like, who told you that?" And then she's like, "Daddy's black, I'm black." And I'm like, I don't know where she picked it up, but I guess it's good for them to start understanding that, yes, I am different. Yes, it is okay.
Right.
And so if diabetes, having a doll with diabetes pump on their arm, I think that's a good thing to start that conversation early.
Right, I love it.
Because kids are going to have questions.
Kids are going to have questions, and it's better to get ahead of it and be able to talk them through with something that they're familiar with, a Barbie doll, and say, "Hey, look, my Barbie has this too." So, yeah, incredible.
Yep.
So another trend that's coming up, TikTok may be coming up with another app that's similar. So there are rumors.
Is it going to stick around? Are we going to wake up one morning and the TikTok is gone and people lose their mind?
Right. So what they're doing is trying to have a U.S. TikTok. It's going to be called M2. It'll be
what?
M2, right. So ahead of the federal deadline, they're going to require that sale or ban by September 17th. So we might be seeing something by September 17th. The app will be active for U.S. TikTok users only. Do we think it's going to be as popular as TikTok?
Well, first of all, the popularity went out the window for me when you said it was called M2. That sounds like some new wave of a strain of something.
So what do you think TikTok sounds like?
TikTok sounds a little bit more trendy, to be honest with you. That is something that would stick in my head. M2 makes me think of an epidemic that we need to be worried about. I mean, I'm just being honest, another pandemic.
It does sound like a virus or something.
Like, no. And I guess maybe that's intentional because maybe they wanted to catch on and everybody to have it. I don't know. But that sounds like something that a scientist thought about, and they should have asked me for a name.
I'm curious what the M2 stands for.
Another virus. I just told you. I have no idea. I don't like the name. I like the ideology behind it to make it, I guess, Americanized in some ways. But in terms of the name, and then my question is, does that mean now that the jobs that will come with M2 are on U.S. soil? If so, then that's a good thing. Right. But the name is, can I say trash?
You can say trash. You can say trash on
the name is trash, and they should ask the public, people that use it, hey, here's some ideas, or send us your ideas, and we'll pick the best one, because M2 is not it.
So content-wise, you're a content creator. Do you think it's going to be harder to start that brand from scratch if you move over to M2, or do you think your followers will already follow you back on M2?
You got some good questions, Justine, all the time. When it comes to TikTok, I don't really mess with TikTok like that. I'm not a TikToker. I post on TikTok, my personal page, every now and then. My husband uses TikTok for our social media brand, like content, our brand, our name. But I don't really mess with TikTok, so I'm probably not going to be on it, to be honest. Or I may download it and upload one thing. But I'm not really, my brand, I guess my identity is on Facebook because the old folks love me, right? Because of the content that I post. Old people love me. I'm old. And so my base is on Facebook and also Instagram. So TikTok, yeah. I took a break from TikTok and X.
I love it. I'm obsessed with TikTok. There's so
Really?
many cool things that you can learn. just like Google, but video form. So I don't have to go through and read all the
I could get that.
articles. I can just get that information right there.
Now, I did one time go down a rabbit hole on TikTok, and I'm sure you remember this young lady. She actually now has, I think, a movie or a show coming out on Netflix. So I guess it is, you know, it can be lucrative too. She's posted that she married this guy that she really didn't know. Did you follow that story?
I saw
And it was
bits
like
and
part
pieces. It was like
20.
40 parts.
And I was on a roll, boy. I was scrolling. I was like, girl, this is good. And now she's going to have a whole show behind it. So I guess there's some pluses to TikTok.
I think TikTok brings so many opportunities to people.
It's true.
They can make their own money, be their own boss. You create content that you like and that you want to see. It's your own platform.
Okay, maybe I'll get
It
back
molds
on
to
TikTok.
you. It's like watching TV and knowing every scroll is going to be something that I like.
You're right, because it does like set the algorithm based
Exactly.
on your characteristics and what you like. But
Exactly.
Instagram does that too.
Instagram has too many random
Yeah, you're right.
explore page videos for me. I don't like Instagram.
You're right. I was looking up things. You know, they have a lot of good home pages, home decorating pages.
Right.
And right in between a twerk session. I didn't ask for the twerk video. I don't watch that on my phone. How did that end up in my algorithm?
I
So
wonder why,
Instagram
Tia.
do better. So you're right. No. I don't watch that. It was random, and I'm like, what's up with the algorithm? Maybe it was someone near me.
Right.
Maybe I need to check my husband's phone. You're right.
And a lot of the times the followers, your followers, whatever they like, show up on your page too because they assume that you guys like the same thing.
Yeah, I don't like twerk videos. I didn't appreciate that.
You
Instagram.
know what? Speaking of viral and influencers, Love Island's biggest drama online. Do you watch Love Island?
So I tried to get into it, and it just started out, you know. When you get to a certain age, you get tired of the messy stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my reality TV. I love Love at First Sight. I'm a Real Housewives of Atlanta girl. If y'all want to come to Real Housewives of Chicago and start it, I'll be your girl. I'm ready to go on TV. But Love Island, I don't know the whole premise, but I felt like it was bed hopping.
right.
You know what I mean? Like 1 minute you're with this guy, next minute I just felt like, listen, I don't need to know about all that. It's just too much going on that
I'm
show
not
for me.
into Love Island either. I think it's maybe the demographic is too young. There's a lot of early 20-year-olds and they're just like you said, bed hopping, making out, kissing with everybody. I want to see you find love.
Real love. I think
Real
that's why I
love.
like Love at First Sight.
Right.
And I can't really get into, and don't get me wrong, some of it is all a storyline. We're
Right.
very clear on that. But that one is just, it's team too much for me.
So a lot of the things that people are saying right now that they hate about Love Island is that they're facing a lot of backlash. People are saying that they're racist.
Not
and-
inclusive. I can see that.
So do we think that when you go on a reality TV show, you should already know what you're signing up for? And you shouldn't be bullied online? You should be, have that tough skin? Or should we be nicer to these
Okay, so
people
I'm gonna say
online?
this. I don't know what the racism claims are, but after watching some of these reality shows, who I will not call out, but I have been an avid viewer, I do feel like when it comes to women of color, they pick the worst dudes.
Okay.
I'm like, where did you find it?
What are you
My
thinking-
sister don't deserve him.
I was gonna say, what do you think is bad about them?
You found him on the street. He's not ready for love. He barely has a job. And I'm like, why would you do that? And the problem I have with it, especially with this one show, which I'm sure you could go look this up, he lied about having kids with a woman and all this other stuff. It's like you pick decent people for everybody else. But when it came to women of color, they had the worst pick of the litter. So yeah, I can see why sometimes there are claims of that. And I think part of the problem is behind the scenes on some of these shows, they don't have people that represent the people on the show. Meaning, if you have 5 black women on the show, right? And you have 4 white women on the show. You should have equal representation behind the scenes so that people can say, not, because a woman of color may say, don't pick him.
Right.
Because she may see something in him that you may not see. And unfortunately, a lot of these shows lack that.
So would you say that's a behind the scenes type of thing with the
I do.
producers?
I do think so. Not even just producers, the people that develop these shows,
Right.
all of that. You remember we had Matt Wernick on the show, and he has the YouTube show about dating.
50
and
Dates in 50 States.
Yes, and
Yep.
I was telling you now there's a show similar that was on YouTube that's on Netflix. Well, now that it's on Netflix, the show has lost the same value that it had online because it does not have the same representation at Netflix that it had on YouTube.
So if you're not familiar with the show, this one is the Pop the Balloon show
Pop
that
the
you're
Balloon,
talking about.
correct.
It was a viral show that became in Atlanta. I think it started in Atlanta. And
Phoenix,
was
Phoenix,
it
Arizona.
Phoenix?
Phoenix, Arizona,
So
yep.
you go through, you pop a balloon if you like them, if you're vibing with them. If you're not, wait, you pop it if
don't
you're
like
not vibing with them. If you like them, you keep going and asking questions and they really get to know
Right.
each other. But it was a predominantly black show. Most of the people,
The creators.
the creators were black. A lot of the people on the show, the contestants, were also black.
Correct.
So you feel like that type of situation has better representation because we're the creators being black, they were able.
The problem that I have with this show once it went to Netflix, it's not about the people on the show being black. It's about not having representation behind the scenes to understand who you're selecting to be on the show. And unfortunately, if let's just say what it is, right? So I'm from Chicago, but I'm from a rough part of Chicago. Being that I grew up in a rough part of Chicago, I can identify a con artist a mile away. Why? Because I've had to learn that skill. That's a skill that you may not get. Look, I live in a very nice, different neighborhood now. That's a skill that my kids will never have that skill based on where they're growing up right now.
Right.
They will never have that skill. Growing up in Burr Ridge, Hinsdale, they may never learn that same skill that I learned growing up in Inglewood. And unfortunately, what's happened when you put people behind the scenes on a show like Pop the Balloon that don't have that skill, they don't see the con.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yep.
So then you have these people on TV misrepresenting what they really want, misrepresenting who they really are. And that's what happened with Pop the Balloon and a lot of these other shows that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have to go to break.
We done got serious
Right,
real
we
quick.
done had a deep conversation at 11 in the morning. But we will also be talking to a financial expert here coming up after the break.
But that's true.
No,
though.
that's true. That's very true.
Very
All right, Gen Z, help me understand this. Now you guys are micro retiring. I mean, are you serious? Every time I turn around, you guys are coming up with a new trend that keeps your asses out of the workplace. First, we had quiet quitting, and now micro retiring. I mean, if having an excuse not to work was an Olympic sport, y'all would win the damn gold medal. I mean, you would be the Intercontinental Champion. But I have a question. What the hell are you retiring from? I mean, you are in your 20s. You don't even have a career to retire from. This is the time when you should be working the most. This is the time when you should be grinding. This is the time where you're going to have extra side hustles. This is the time where you build the foundation for everything that's to come in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s. This is not the time to take a damn sabbatical. And you want to know why? Because in your 20s is when you have the most amount of energy. Trust me, you will never, ever have the same amount of energy that you have now. But instead of putting that energy into building your career, you're going to go to Bali and find yourself? Give me a break. Now, you may think that this is a great idea because you want to avoid burnout, but let me tell you something. The only thing that is burning out is your career. First of all, 60% of employers will not hire someone that has gaps in their resume. They don't want someone that's just going to be there for 2 or 3 months and then just leave for another 2 or 3 months to go find themselves. Plus, you are torching your financial future. Aren't you guys the generation that keeps talking about how you don't have any money to buy a house, how everything's too expensive, how you guys can't afford anything? If you're not working, you're not contributing to your 401k. You're not putting money toward your investments. You are not saving. And the difference between starting to invest in your 20s versus your 30s could be up to $1 million. Yes, $1 million. And don't even get me started on momentum. You are out here manifesting on the beach while your peers are snagging up skills and promotions. And when you come back, they're going to be your boss and you will be in an entry-level position. Cute? I don't think so. So instead of worrying about retiring in your damn 20s, take that energy, build your career, stack coins, build your skills so that when you're 60, you're laying on the beach because you want to, not because you don't have any other place to go. Get to damn work.
Patty aside, letting they bleeps know, okay? Yes, letting them know. Patty aside, financial literacy expert. That was amazing, first of all.
Thank you.
Yeah, you kept it all the way real. Where did this ideology of micro retiring even come from?
Well, you know, Gen Z has all these trends, anything not to work,
Yeah.
anything. So first we had like quiet quitting, now we
Right.
have micro retiring. And it's basically, so you're gonna work for a few months and then you're gonna take a few months to a few weeks off and then start over. And they're doing it to prevent burnout, but the only thing that's burning out is their financial future, and they don't understand this.
Yeah.
So how are they able to take these breaks? Are they getting full-time jobs and just leaving, or?
They don't even care.
Okay.
They do not care. They're just like, I'm just gonna take a break, and if you hire me back, great. If you don't hire me back, then I guess I'll try to find another job.
What's the danger of doing this?
There's so many dangers, but here are the top 3, okay? The first is you are screwing up your financial future because Gen Z is the biggest generation complaining about, I don't have any money, I can't afford to buy a house. Well, guess what? If you're not working, you're not making money, right? That's the math here. And they're not only hurting their present finances, but their future, because if you don't earn an income, you don't contribute to your 401k, to your savings, to your retirement. So they better get real comfortable with these hostels that they're staying in, because that's where they're gonna be living when they retire. I'm serious.
I love it. So let's talk about this. What should they be doing? What's the best track for someone that, let's say they're watching and they are 20, 21, 22, and they're trying to figure it out? What is the best thing to do to build up for your financial future?
Well, first of all, don't quit after a few months, okay? 60% of employers will not hire you if you have gaps in your resume and you don't have a good excuse for it. And like hashtag van life is not a great excuse, okay? So you're not gonna get hired. And also, another thing I want to mention, which is important, you're not moving up the career ladder, because while you're finding yourself on the beach, right, your peers, they're getting promoted, they're getting noticed, they're gonna be your boss. So instead of taking all this time off for nothing, work your butt off. I went to law school in Chicago. I had a full-time job and 2 side hustles and was going to law school full-time in my 20s, right? That is the time when you have the most amount of energy. Am I right? Right? You will never have that much energy. So build the foundation now so you actually have a future you can retire from. Because right now you're just not working. It's not even retirement.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on, I know a lot of the times people work a job, but then they move after like 2 years because that's how you get bigger raises and you're making more money. What's your thoughts on that? Is that the same concept, or are you okay with that?
That is not the same concept, because A, you're not gonna have gaps in your resume. That's the most important thing. And B, if they ask you, well, why do you want to leave your other job, or why did you leave your other job? You can always say for better opportunities, for better pay. That's a legitimate reason to leave a job, not to go find yourself on the beach.
You know, Patty, a lot of people now talk about retirement, what retirement will look like in 20 years. What can someone do? And that's a short time, right? What can people do now to really start preparing for the day when maybe they do want to take a micro break, micro retirement?
What you need to do is you need to invest in your retirement as much as possible. Put all the money that you can in your retirement, because a 10-year gap in your retirement between starting if you're 25 versus 35, that's $700,000 that you could be losing out on. So start investing in your retirement now as much as you can.
So people that are experiencing burnout, is there other alternatives that you suggest rather than just quitting?
Yes, take a yoga class. do meditation, take the weekends, chill out at home, go to the beach. There's so many things you can do on your time off to relax. Trust me, I need to relax too. Everybody does. But the way to do it is not to quit your job.
What made you come up with those videos? Because to be honest with you, I think that's part of the problem in our world. A lot of times people don't, they're not really receptive to realism and
Right.
people being real. What made you come up with those videos to begin with?
Because I think that the young people are struggling and no one is telling it like it is because we're so afraid of hurting people's feelings. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, it's not a safe space. But they don't understand that they're going to end up broke. And that's the most unsafe space you could possibly be.
How have your videos been received online so far? Are you growing a following?
Well, yeah, I have 1 million followers on TikTok, which is
following.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Right.
So which is really, really great. And you know, you're gonna have your naysayers. Like someone was like, "Well, I don't believe this because what if I get hit by a bus tomorrow?" And I said, "The percentage,
on.
right? The percentage of you, this was my reply, the percentage of you getting hit by a bus is close to 0. The percentage of you ending up broke in your retirement is 90% if you keep this up. So do the math."
Let me ask you something. What can people really do? Because I'll be honest with you, sometimes I think about this and I'm like, okay, what will my retirement really look like? And some days you do. I mean, you do feel burned out. You do want to retire tomorrow, but it's not realistic, right?
Right.
What do you do to avoid, being 70 and being the cashier possibly at 7-Eleven if you don't want to? It's one thing if that's something
Correct.
you want to do, but you don't want to.
Right, but we just go back to investing. People don't understand how important investing is. Do you know that 66% of millionaires in this country have never earned more than $100,000 in their entire lives? They did it because they saved, they invested, they didn't have the fancy cars, they didn't have the fancy clothes, they didn't have the fancy watches, which are depreciating assets, right? They always invested in appreciating assets, poor dad next door, rich dad next door. Those concepts are really, really important. Stop trying to floss, stop trying to impress everybody with all the stuff that you don't need. Put that money in your retirement.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
I love that. I love that. So what would you say about Gen Z having different types of jobs? So nowadays, instead of having your traditional jobs where you're in an office, what about content creation and doing things like that? Would you suggest that?
And a lot of that does come with flossing. Because you
Yes.
have to pretend. It's the
Right,
put on.
that is
Yes.
very true.
One thing that people understand, and this is why I have 1 million followers on TikTok and 8,000 on Instagram, okay?
So we're the reverse here,
Right.
yeah.
Is because I don't floss. A lot of stuff that you see on Instagram, that's why I like TikTok better. It's just people's flossing, these curated lives.
You're right.
And what they're doing is they're spending all their money on buying all the stuff, right? To act like they're rich, but they are broke as a joke. I mean, how many times you were talking about the housewives? Are these housewives broke?
Renting
How many
a
house?
house.
Renting
Yep.
a house,
Cars.
renting everything. Financial troubles, going to jail, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't have any money, because it's all a show. And people watch that and they aspire to be that, but it's just fake.
If you have something to tell somebody right now, maybe they have $20,000, $30,000 to spare, what would you tell them to invest in right now?
Most important things to invest are ETFs and index funds, okay? Those are a pool of diversified funds that are never gonna go to zero. Forget about the Google, the Tesla, the hot stocks. They can go to zero at any given time. Put that money in ETFs and index funds and buy every single month. Just set it up automatically for it to buy X amount of dollars every single month. You set it, forget it until retirement.
And for the younger generations, is there a certain amount of money that you should be putting in, or can you just put in $10 every time you make a check?
Just put in anything that you can, but let me just give you the math. If you put in $100, every single month in your 20s, by the time you retire, you'll have $1 million. $1 million, okay? If you start at 35, though, in your 30s, you'll have $300,000. So whatever you can contribute, start doing it now. Doesn't matter. It adds up. Compound interest.
It's interesting that you say that, because my husband and I have a friend, and his theory is rather than going to Starbucks every day and spending $20,
Yeah.
he takes $20 to $30 every day and he puts it into the ETF, like you said.
Yes.
He has it automatically coming
Yep.
out every week
Yep.
in a lump sum to avoid, becoming 70, 60 years old with
Yep.
no money.
Yeah, those daily Starbucks runs.
They add up.
The $15 lunches, $20 lunches, they add up. $6,000 people spend on average on eating out lunch a year. $3,000 on Starbucks and coffee. Yeah, if you took that and you just started investing that money, you will be surprised how much money you have at retirement.
Yeah, I'm not going to get that chai latte.
I was
today.
gonna say,
You
are there
feel
any
good.
like daily hacks that you can recommend
Yes,
to
no
Gen Z?
Starbucks at all. Make your coffee at home. Take your lunch. Those are huge. Those are two biggest things. And do not order delivery. Go pick it up. Stop being lazy. Get out of bed.
Walk.
Because you know when you when you order delivery, you pay 91% more. That's almost double the cost of what it would be if you went to pick it up. Stop being lazy. Get your butt up. You can walk at Chicago.
Yeah, but these apps that's how they're really making their money. They
Absolutely.
know that we're lazy. They know that we'll order online and all this other
Absolutely.
stuff.
I just delete those apps. I literally.
That's another good hack.
Delete those apps. I delete those apps. I delete anything that all the sale things, all the emails. I unsubscribe from all of them because I don't want anybody to tempt me to do stuff that I'm not supposed to do with my money.
Wow. So it's interesting
I
that
like
you say
that
you
hack.
delete the apps and you get rid of the emails. It's Prime Day. Is there any
Yes.
tips that you can give people
Yes.
to not waste their money?
Yes. Okay. You
Don't
only
shop.
buy
No, I'm kidding.
Don't shop. But
Don't check your email.
But essentials. Only
Okay.
buy essentials. Okay. So on Prime Day, things are really good, like tech essentials that you've wanted. TVs, things like that are really good time to buy at Prime. And if you go on Prime, actually, it'll tell you everything that you've bought, and if they're like 10% off, 15% off, and those are essentials that you're buying, that's okay. But you don't need that glow-in-the-dark pool floaty, that kind of stuff. Like, who needs that? Stop blowing your money on that kind of stuff.
Where can people that are watching right now find you? What is your hashtag? Or your name?
Yes,
Your username?
at Duchess of Decorum on TikTok and also on Instagram. And I have a book that just came out, Never Date a Broke Dude, The Financial
that.
Freedom Playbook. Yes. It's
So
not,
wait, do you mean that literally never date a brokey?
Oh, yes. Why would you ever want to date
Okay.
a broke dude?
No, I'm just
yeah,
asking.
For sure.
I agree.
Well, I definitely mean that. But the book is about teaching women financial independence and financial freedom. It's not really just about dating a broke dude.
Yeah.
It's a funny title, but
Catchy.
but you want to build your own financial independence so you don't have to rely on a man, because anytime I've relied on a man for anything, I've been very disappointed. So guess
Yeah.
what? I am going to rely on myself.
I like that.
That's amazing.
Man, you break it. We need you
Hi.
back. When
I'll
you
come
coming
back anytime.
Yeah, we need you to come back. You were absolutely
I love
excellent.
it. Thank
You got
you.
any more questions, Justine?
Honestly, I have so many questions.
do
I can
too.
sit down here and talk to you for ages. Okay, so if you had to go back to your early 20s, what would you do differently?
That's a good question.
I would stop waiting for a prince to come rescue me.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
And build it yourself.
And build it myself.
Yeah.
We have been brainwashed to believe as women that we need to be rescued, that our entire self-worth and self-value is dependent on a man coming and rescuing us, and that's just not it. We need to build the life we want for ourselves, give ourselves what we want, so that we have self-love. That's the biggest form of self-love. It gives you
You're right.
options, it gives you freedom, it gives you choices. So stop waiting for a prince, because he ain't coming. And even if he does, he may not stay.
No,
Right?
he may not stay. Now, Never Date a Broke Dude, how do they get your book? Is it on your website?
Yes, it's on my website, but on Amazon, on anywhere where you get your books. You can get it on Barnes & Noble, anywhere, yeah.
Perfect. All right, Patty Asai, it has been absolutely wonderful having you here, and hopefully we'll have you back.
I would love to come
Yes.
back.
All
Thank
right.
you for having me. This
All
was
right.
fun.
Thank you.
Stay with us, we'll be right back. You're fantastic.
Yes.
That was so So we are talking about something that has really made headlines. It really shocked, I think, a lot of people to see. I think it was over $200 million defrauded from a Loretto Hospital top executive, a CEO. And here to talk more about it is Kelly Bauer with Block Club Chicago. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know, I really appreciate your journalism. You always do deep digging, diving into a lot of really compelling stories, really salacious stories at the same time. Tell us more about how this CEO was able to pull this off.
Yeah, and thank you so much for your kind words. You know, folks might remember that back in 2021, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, Block Club revealed that an executive at Loretto Hospital had been giving people access to the vaccines before they were supposed to have it. That executive was Dr. Nash Ahmed. We then did a series of stories showing how Dr. Ahmed had also had questionable conduct at Loretto, including working or having Loretto create contracts with his own best friend, business partner, and next door neighbor, Dr. Samer Suhail. Mr. Suhail and Dr. Ahmed are now facing charges for embezzling $15 million from Loretto Hospital. But more recently, more charges came out, and prosecutors allege that Dr. Ahmed was part of a scheme that stole $300 million from the federal government through fake COVID-19 testing. They say that he stole patients' information from Loretto Hospital and then used that information to pretend to do COVID-19 testing and to submit claims to the federal government looking to get reimbursed for that testing, even though none of it was ever actually done.
Wow, so there's a lot that goes into that. So from your point of view, what do you think made it escalate from that vaccine controversy to everything else that happened following?
I can't say what made it escalate, but what is interesting to me is how much of this kind of activity we saw during that peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. These new charges were really interesting to me because they kind of brought together two major stories Block Club had exposed in 2021 and 2022, which was the Loretto vaccine scandal, but also all these scandals with COVID-19 pop-up testing centers. We wrote about how these companies were popping up all over the city. I'm sure you guys remember them, where you could supposedly walk in, get your COVID test, and get your positive or negative result within minutes. And we showed that a lot of them had really questionable practices. A lot of them were not collecting people's insurance information like they were supposed to, and things like that. That led to a number of investigations, companies getting shut down, all that kind of stuff. And now more recently, it was shown that Mr. Ahmed was allegedly part of the testing issues as well. So I think it's just an example of how some people were really taking advantage of people's concerns and fears during the height of the pandemic in order to try to make money off of it.
And also really how greedy some of these people are. I mean, they were already people that were in healthcare with pretty highly esteemed positions. Can you talk about if there was anything uncovered to show where the money trail went? Once the money, they were given this chunk of money, where did it go? Did they go buy something like a yacht? Do we know any of those details?
Yes. So Mr. Ahmed had a number of properties in Houston, nice mansions, things like that. There was also more than $50 million that were seized in an account run by Mr. Ahmed. Luxury cars, Rolls-Royce, Mercedes-Benz, a Lamborghini, things like that. So this money was allegedly going toward buying those kinds of properties, those high-end cars, and of course also just towards saving it for other expenses.
What do you think about oversight? Because that was one of the issues. I remember following some of these stories with these fraudulent pop-up COVID testing sites. And one of the major issues was who's overseeing these locations. Like, you pull up as an everyday person, it was obvious that, come on, this place can't be legit. What did you find in terms of your reporting when it came to oversight from the state level and even maybe on the federal level as well?
Yes, so these pop-up testing sites were supposed to be regulated by the federal government, which regulates, normal labs under regular conditions. But I think because people were just rushing to get things set up during that peak of COVID-19, there wasn't as much oversight as there would normally be. Now we are seeing some of that start to come back. Mr. Ahmed is not the only one facing charges in these kinds of schemes. Another person we had written about, Mr. Jamil Al Kusa, is facing charges in a similar scheme where prosecutors say he took in $200 million for fake COVID-19 testing, including in the Chicago area. And other folks that we had written about have also been charged. So I think that in the moment, the oversight was something that was troubling. It was just part of this big rush to make testing as available as possible. But now that we've kind of been able to take a step back, testing is not done at the same frantic pace it used to be. Some of those folks who had allegedly participated in these, defrauding and embezzling conspiracies are now facing charges. We know that that's at least 500 million that we've highlighted with our reporting that was supposedly defrauded from the government.
So for people who are following the case, what timeline do you expect in terms of trial?
It's difficult to say. So after the initial charges of embezzling 15 million from Loretto Hospital, Mr. Suhail and Dr. Ahmed fled to Dubai. They still remain there based on my reporting. And so we are looking at what could happen next. Could they be extradited? Are they, just now able to live freely in Dubai? It's difficult to say, but I do think that we will see more updates in this case.
Let me ask you in terms of rebuilding trust, because Loretto Hospital obviously has a huge task of rebuilding trust with the community. Has there been any attempt on the hospital to try to bridge the gap between them now and the community for the community to essentially trust them again?
That's a wonderful question. And it was a big thing during our reporting is Loretto is a safety net hospital on the west side. It's supposed to be taking care of the most vulnerable people in Chicago. In fact, it was the hospital where COVID-19 vaccines were first administered in Chicago because the city wanted to send a message that we are going to take care of our low-income neighbors, our neighbors of color, our vulnerable groups. And then, of course, all of this news came out, and I think it has led a lot of people to question what is happening at these hospitals. Is it safe? What kind of care is there? And I think, Loretto has gotten rid of some of the administrators who were present. A number of them are facing charges connected to these cases I talked about, including former CEO George Miller. But I think a lot of people do still have concerns, especially because Loretto administrators and even politicians associated with the hospital continue to defend Mr. Miller and Dr. Ahmed after our reporting. So I think that they do still have a ways to go with rebuilding trust with the community that they serve.
Well, Kelly, you break a lot of stories in and around Chicago. Your journalism is absolutely remarkable. Anybody watching right now, where can they follow you?
I'm on Twitter, Blue Sky, Bauer Journalism, and of course, you can always go read my stories at Block Club Chicago.
All right, Kelly Bauer, it has been an absolute pleasure. I enjoy your work personally. I'm kind of fangirling right now. I know that's weird, but in the journalism world, that's a little thing that we do. We appreciate you being on.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Take care.
And coming up, we'll be talking to the Amazon operations manager to learn a little bit of behind the scenes of what goes on during Prime Day. Catch you after the break. Welcome back. The time is 11:48. Today is Prime Day. We're on day number 2. And while you're hunting for those deals, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Here to talk to us is Jordan Osmak, Amazon Operations Manager. Hi, Jordan.
Jordan, you might be. Oh, we thought you were muted.
can
I'm
hear
like,
ya.
can you hear us?
I can hear you.
It's all the workers in the background. We get it.
Tell us, what
Yeah.
is going on behind the scenes today?
Oh, it's great. It's a big day. We're feeling the first push of the volume. I'm expecting a little bit more here in the next few days. So we can't wait. It's a great week. This is more like a Super Bowl to us, you know.
Jordan, do you have a number of how many packages you've pushed out already for day 1 of Prime Day?
Not speculating on the numbers right now, but we're expecting a big increase in volume over the next few days. So we're all ready for it.
So are you guys working around the clock in order to push these packages out? How is that looking?
Yes. So there is a night crew that kind of goes through the packages from the fulfillment centers, gets it ready for more of the driver side. That's what I deal with. And then we make sure that the drivers are getting out on the road safely as possible, and making sure that the package is delivered to your doorstep.
So Jordan, okay, relax, okay? You're on TV with us. You can relax here. I got a serious question for you. So you can go on Amazon, right? You can get a wig, okay? You can get a girdle. You can get a weed treatment for your lawn. You can get a water hose, all at the same time. So is all of this stuff at the same fulfillment center? If I go look this stuff up now and I want it, on discount for Prime Day, or is this stuff coming from different places based on what the item is?
So once you order, it's going to go to a fulfillment center. From the fulfillment center, it's going to go directly to a delivery station. So we're technically more the last mile of the operation. And then it goes to the drivers. From the drivers, it goes to your doorstep.
So when you're preparing for Prime Day, do you guys ship in more things for the warehouse because you're anticipating people's purchases, or how does that work?
Yep. So during this week, so the fulfillment centers always get a surplus of packages, and then we're always, anticipating higher volume. So staffing correctly and making sure that obviously safety is number one, and then getting the packages out to your door.
Jordan, I've watched some of this stuff on Instagram and TikTok, I guess, occasionally, where they show things like robots that are doing all these jobs, right? Is there new tech? I'm not saying you guys are using robots. My question is there new technology or anything new in terms of development to get all this stuff moved around, or are you using more people in the warehouse during Prime Week?
Yeah, great question. So we're using more people right now, staffing correctly. Also on the driver's side, we're increasing the hiring on that need. We have the delivery vans specifically for my site. We use all electric delivery vans. So we have a surplus of delivery vans, making sure that there's an increase to support any vans that are inoperable or anything like that. So the biggest thing is the electric delivery vans that we're getting a great feedback from all the drivers.
So I'm curious, when I find something that I like or I don't like it, say it doesn't fit, and I need to return it, what happens to all those returns? I'm sure there's people ordering stuff maybe out of impulse and they're like, give it back. What's happening with those items?
Yep, so the items get returned and then they go back to the fulfillment centers. And then from there, they can, get repacked or whatever needs to do. So that's the biggest thing. There's also, locker returns. So if if a customer, no longer needs the packages, they can drop it off at a locker. From the locker, it gets picked up from the drivers.
So I want to know the secrets.
So it's pretty easy.
I want you to give us the behind the scenes secrets. You got to let me in on the secret stuff. Like here, for example, right? If we get tired at work, we got like a little vending machine area where you could go get you a little Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee or something like that. Of course, it's on us. The company isn't paying for it. Do you guys have stuff like that there for the employees? Because I would think that you're working, and you're moving so much that you got to keep the energy up.
Yep, absolutely. So we have what we call like snack shacks. We have PPE materials for gloves, sunscreen. We have constantly putting out snacks, like little energy, electrolyte packets, stuff like that. So all the drivers are going on the road with the proper PPE to make sure that they're successfully delivering.
You know, I love a good snack. It doesn't take me much to be happy. What is your favorite thing about your job?
Favorite thing would be every day is a new day, so I'm constantly learning. Being with Amazon for 4 years, every day I come in, there's something that I'm learning. So that's the biggest thing.
What is, in terms of Amazon Prime, because I call it week, I know people say day, but I call it Amazon Prime week because it does last almost a week. What are the items that people seem to gravitate towards the most during that time? Like no matter what, no matter where you are, these are the items that you consistently see fly off the warehouse shelves.
It's always going to be electronics, from headphones to computers, computer screens, stuff like that. And I will say, being with Amazon for 4 years, this is probably one of the best Prime weeks that I'm seeing with all the deals. Also, this year there is an extended day, so it's 4 days.
So when you say deals, what would you say are the best deals? Are you talking about on electronics, for example, headphones, TVs?
That's correct. Yep, that's correct. From 20% off to 40% off and so forth. Exactly.
Is there anything that you're specifically eyeing?
He has everything.
Right?
I mean, if I worked at Amazon, I would have everything.
I'd be like, yes, I need this.
I have an Amazon truck parked right in the front of my house.
Yep.
Oh, no, go ahead, Jordan. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So a big thing too is a lot of my friends are having children. So going on the registry, seeing a lot of deals there. So it's helping me out tremendously. So anybody with having expecting any children, there's plenty of deals out there.
Perfect. This is a random question. When there's new items hitting the market that maybe we haven't seen yet, do you see them first sometimes at Amazon?
No, not necessarily. Nope.
Okay.
What about some of those gifts that are hard to get? Everything goes out of stock. How do you guys go with that?
So there's big items that usually a lot of customers order. So we're constantly having those items such as, paper towels, stuff like that. So it's constantly getting replenished. So we're staying ahead of the ball.
All right. Well, Jordan, it has been an absolute pleasure talking with you. Hey, thank you so much for being one of the people to help orchestrate for us to all get our packages on time. We appreciate the work that you do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Get out there and start ordering some Amazon products.
We
all
will.
Right. Tell everybody at Amazon we said, what up? Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Welcome on back.
Welcome back.
Welcome on back. Go ahead.
I was gonna give you your time, girl.
Welcome on back. It's
So-
like one word. Welcome on back.
Welcome on back. So people on Reddit have been talking. They're saying, what are people not appreciating about Chicago?
Okay, and people are fired up about
They're
this.
all talking about it. Me personally, I'm saying people do not appreciate the tourist stuff. There are so many cool experiences that you can have just by experiencing Chicago as a tourist. You've got Navy Pier, you've got all the museums. I love it. And it's always something new and fresh. Tia, what about you?
I think people don't appreciate the south and west sides of Chicago. I think, unfortunately, if you watch the news long enough, you'll be like, I'm never going over there. Everybody, even the cat must have a gun. And that's not true. And I think that those sides of towns have some really beautiful eateries, beautiful people, and I think people forget that.
That's a great perspective. I love it.
I always got something deep to say. All right, we're going to have even more deep things to say. Tomorrow we're going to have Kinsey and Roman on the show talking all things Windy City Smoke. Did I do that right?
Yeah. Yeehaw.
Make sure you tune in. We'll
see you tomorrow.
Yeehaw.
Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at Noon.
Next at noon, ICE agents are ramping up their immigration enforcement. Joni will tell us where they're targeting next.
Chicago Sky star Angel Reese continues to shine both on and off the court.
And taking a live look outside, look at that. Some parts of the city still drying out, some living in the clouds there. Caitlin's going to tell us if we still need those rain boots for the rest of the day. Good